idiot. Donald Trump, let me just be very clear. Donald Trump is smarter than me, you, and all critics.
Things are very different this time around for Donald Trump. People that you would not have expected to come around this time are. Take Van Jones, for example.
The mainstream media is the fringe, and the fringe is now the mainstream. How the hell was he, the 78-year-old guy who doesn't even have a computer and still writes handwritten notes, how did he become the guy who cracked the code on, to your point, running a cultural, I don't even want to say campaign, running...
It was a movement. The problem is you have a framework in your mind that, how can Donald Trump? Guys, can we cut it out? Donald Trump is not an idiot. Donald Trump, let me just be very clear. Donald Trump is smarter than me, you, and all critics. You know how we know? Because he has the White House, the Senate, the House.
Totally agree.
The popular vote. He has a massive media ecosystem bigger than the mainstream built around him and for him, and a religious fervor in a political movement around him. And his best buddy is the richest person in the history of the world, and the most relevant Kennedy is with him. This dude is a phenomenon. He is the most powerful human on earth and in our lifetime. And we're still saying, well, how was this guy? We look like idiots to ordinary people.
You're totally right.
Jones is now admitting that Donald Trump, far from the previous Democrat talking points about Trump having rapidly diminishing mental faculties, once again they're accusing their opposition of what they themselves had and have with Biden, now admits that Trump is brilliant. To quote, smarter than all of us. His view, correctly this time, is that the Democrats have been viewing Trump in the wrong framework. He states the obvious, that Trump is no idiot. He has developed an entirely new communications infrastructure. If you enjoy this content, please like, share and subscribe. Trump has a brilliant team and has pulled the likes of Musk and, to quote Van Jones, the most relevant Kennedy from the Democrats. More correctly, the Democrats have shifted way too far to the left, particularly focusing to an illogical extent on fringe issues. Van Jones makes another admission.
Vote, and we're just sitting here with the dunce cap on. Last week, we thought we were the smartest people in the world. We thought Donald Trump was an idiot. We thought his campaign made no sense, and it turned out they were smarter than us, and we don't have anything to say. I can sit here and pretend I know something.
At least Jones doesn't try to dodge the fact that he was wrong in the past. He admits that he did think Trump was an idiot. The reality is, the majority of Democrats still underrate Trump and think that he's an idiot. They must think that he got lucky twice. They do this to the peril of the midterm future of their party. However, as with Jones, you do have some sensible Democrats sounding the alarm. Take Lindy Lee, a DNC National Finance Committee member.
I think, unfortunately, the Democratic Party has a stench of loser written all over the party, and I'm sorry. And I'm speaking as a Democrat myself. This brings me no joy to say it, but I feel like the Democrats are going to be consigned to the wilderness for at least the next 4 to 8 years. And Jeff Bezos is probably thanking his lucky stars that he withheld that endorsement. And they're doing everything they can now to continue the détente. Remember what Zuckerberg said on July 13th when in Butler, Pennsylvania, there was an assassination attempt. He praised President Trump for being a badass.
She points to the stench of loser in the Democrats at the present. The Democrats are clearly completely demoralized, in stark contrast to 8 years ago. Think about the protests in 2016, the Pink Pussy Hats, Ashley Judd, Madonna wanting to blow the White House up. This time, the defeat is too comprehensive to pretend. Lee sees the Democrats as likely consigned to the wilderness for at least 8 years. She points to the like of Bezos and Zuckerberg now wanting to be part of the party, so to speak, which I've spoken about previously. The simple fact is, this time you don't have the resistance that you had in 2016. This time, those who oppose Trump know that they need to stay the hell out of the way. She continued.
I think they're going to solidify the relationship between the business world and President Trump. And right now, the economy is ailing under the Biden-Harris administration. I mean, people are just they're suffering. Yes, inflation has come down, but cumulative price hikes are still eating away at people's pocketbooks, and people are dying for a change. So I think we're about to embark on an entirely new era of prosperity. I certainly hope so. And yeah, you can just feel it. Even in the last couple of weeks, Americans are celebrating. Trump's approval rating is incredibly high. People are in support of his transition. The momentum is just tremendous. And I'm speaking as a Democrat, and I'm feeling it as well.
The business leaders will solidify the relationship between the business community and Trump. She acknowledges, amazingly, unlike many of the Democrats, that the economy is ailing and that people are suffering. She said that the momentum is tremendous and that even as a Democrat, she is feeling it as well. This is what I referred to as electricity in an earlier video. Fox business reporter Maria Bartolomeo has also commented on some of these issues.
To see you all. Thank you so much. They want to be part of the conversation. And that's the bottom line. I would say two words: regulation and antitrust. Those are the two issues that have been big issues for many CEOs because the Biden-Harris administration has been stopping lots of deals. The FTC has a problem with antitrust concerns when you see big mergers. So they've been getting in the way of lots of deals and preventing many of these companies from getting larger and merging. So that's the antitrust part of it. And then there's the regulation part of it. Many of these companies have been just dominated by dealing with new rules and regulations under the Biden-Harris administration. They know President Trump is going to do the opposite of that. He's going to deregulate. In other words, take away some of these burdensome rules around the climate change agenda, like one easy one, which the Securities and Exchange Commission put in place a couple of years ago, which made it unlawful to not have a plan for emissions impact from your customers and their customers. And so all of these rules around the Biden climate change agenda will go away, likely on.
Bartolomeo says that the business community is pleased and energized by Trump's ascendancy. They're looking forward to getting a whole lot of highly restrictive regulations off their backs. Large companies are also looking forward to an easing of the antitrust agenda pursued by the Biden administration. Indeed, the way companies see it, they have been dominated by the Biden administration. Even some Republican naysayers are, if not actually jumping on the Trump train, at least not trying to resist Trump this time around. Take Mitt Romney, for example.
Or is MAGA now the Republican Party?
Oh, MAGA is the Republican Party, and Donald Trump is the Republican Party today. And if you were to ask me who the nominee will be in 2028, I think it'll be J.D. Vance, all right? He's smart, well-spoken, part of the MAGA movement.
You said something pretty harsh about him a few months ago, though. You could not have less respect for somebody than J.D. Vance.
Long ago. I'm not going to rehash history. And we've worked together in the Senate since then. But I that is what the Republican Party is. And will the party need to change? Look, the Republican Party has become the party of the working class, middle class voter. And you've got to give Donald Trump credit for having done that, taken that away from the Democrats. Democrats pushed him out. All right, the Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren faction of the Democrat Party with some of this, defund the police and transgenders in, biological males in women's sports.
Romney now acknowledges the incredible achievements of Trump. He admits that the Republican Party is now MAGA and that it is the Trump Republican Party. It is notable that he is even distancing himself from his previous criticisms of J.D. Vance. He also gives credit to Trump for taking the middle and working classes away from the Democrats. The reality is that the middle and working classes have rejected the Democrats as the Democrats have shifted to the loony left. It certainly wasn't always like this with Romney. Watch.
He's got such a strong base of, I don't know, 30 or 40% of the Republican voters, or maybe more. It's going to be hard to knock him off as our nominee. If he became a nominee, I think he loses again. And
would you support him if he's the nominee?
Absolutely not. And I mean, I get asked that. I mean, look, I voted to remove him from office twice, so.
Not that long before Trump won the nomination, Romney acknowledged that Trump probably would win the nomination because of the grassroots support that he had among Republicans. However, his view was that in the election, Trump would be a loser. He also stated that he would absolutely not support Trump. Indeed, he stated that he twice voted for Trump to be removed from office. What is clear is that, unlike the first time, when Trump was almost alone in Washington, he now has a strong team, and his political enemies realize that they cannot just isolate Trump the way in which they did in Trump's first term. As I said in an earlier video, this time Trump has learned many lessons, and it will be a better presidency than his first. And then we have Representative Nancy Mace, who we discussed in the previous video about Stephanopoulos defaming Trump. Well, Nancy Mace has recently been attacked.
Good morning to you. An arrest has been reported, and South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace says she's okay, and she's also describing her alleged attacker.
Overnight, Capitol Police confirming an arrest after an alleged assault against Congresswoman Nancy Mace inside a congressional office building. Mace describing her assailant as, quote, a pro-trans man.
So if that being a feminist makes me an extremist, I'm totally here for it.
The Congresswoman faced protests last month after proposing a bill that would ban transgender people from using restrooms on Capitol Hill corresponding to their gender identity. Her proposal coming as Sarah McBride of Delaware prepares to take office as the first transgender person elected to Congress.
I want to make sure that no men are in women's private spaces, and it's not going to end here.
Police have released few details about the suspect, identified as a 33-year-old from Illinois, who now faces a charge of assaulting a government official. The Capitol was open for visitors at the time of the alleged attack. Mace says she has a brace on her wrist, but says she'll be just fine.
Nancy Mace is pushing for men who have transitioned to female not to be allowed to use female bathrooms. Well, there was an activist who didn't like it and violently shook Mace's hand, injuring her, and in so doing, proving just how much of a physical advantage trans women have over real women. In effect, the stupidity was completely counterproductive to forwarding the trans agenda. Mace has made the point, which is one that I agree with, that she will never stop fighting to ensure that women are protected. Let me know what your views are on the turnaround in the behaviour of Trump's political enemies this time around. Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.